let's move on to a final induction, deduction, final differences wrap up, just so that we're very clear on what can be done with induction and what can be done with deduction. As ways of reasoning, as forms of reasoning, deduction is what is known philosophically. We're gonna talk about this in terms of philosophy right now. It's what is known as a valid form of reasoning. And what that means, it's got a very specific meaning. It doesn't mean what it means in English. It means what it means in philosophy here. What a valid form of reasoning means is that if your theory is correct, then you are guaranteed, if you do deduction correctly, you are guaranteed that your prediction will be correct as well. So again, a valid form of reasoning is that if you start with correct information and you apply the reasoning, you're going to be guaranteed that your answer is going to be correct. And we saw this with the logic puzzles. If you do the logic puzzles correctly, you are guaranteed to find out who had each souvenir, who was on what medication, who arrived, finished the race in what position. That is going to happen 100%. So deduction is like a math problem. 2 plus 4 equals, if you know the rules, you will get to the right answer every single time. Deduction is known as a valid form of reasoning. Now, induction, on the other hand, is what is called an invalid form of reasoning. And again, this is a very limited philosophical definition. And what an invalid form of reasoning is, it means that if your data is correct, then you're not guaranteed that your induced theory is going to be correct. So we saw this today. So many times I was called over to a group and they had a new theory, and that theory fit everything that they had so far. That theory fit all the data. So that it was so the data was correct, induction was applied correctly, and yet most of the time I would say that's not the reason he's saying those numbers, because your final theory that you induced was incorrect. So induction, for that reason, is known as an invalid form of reasoning, where even if you start with correct observations and you imply induction correctly, you got no guarantee that your theory is going to be right. And that's why it's a constant circle between these two, because you induce a theory and then you make a prediction, and if your theory is correct, you should find that prediction. And the reasoning is that if you don't find that prediction, that means your theory had to be incorrect. So you go back, and what do? You try to come up with a new theory. And that's why you'll see so many different theories in psychology, as people keep trying to go around and around and around and around, trying to get to the truth of what's going on. All right.